Dear learners, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Prashant Gautam from University Institute of Hotel and Tourism Management, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Today, we are going to study the module Involvement of Local Community in Tourism under the paper Tourism Planning and Sustainable Development. The learning objectives of these modules are: understand the meaning and concept of community participation in tourism, understand the need of tourism development, know the role of locals in tourism development, to know about the various communities participating in tourism development, to get aware about the benefits of community participation in tourism. Dear learners, tourism is a phenomenal industry which brings not only socio-economic development but also improves the infrastructure. According to the economic survey, the tourism industry creates a multiplier effect and also generates both direct and indirect jobs for the local community. The jobs varies from most unskilled to highly specialized. According to United Nations World Tourism Organizations, tourism generates a lot of jobs and gives 6 to 7% of both direct and indirect jobs throughout the world. In India too, tourism generates numerous job opportunities as in case of the world. In India, for every 1 million money invested generates numerous job opportunities. For every 1 million invested create 47.5 directly and generates 85 to 90 jobs indirectly as compared to the manufacturing sector which only creates 12.6 jobs. Tourism is the third largest foreign exchange earner after the gems and jewelry and ready-made garment sector. In 2015, tourism's annual growth rate was 4.5%. If we talk about number of foreign tourist arrival, that is 8.03 million. In case of domestic tourist departures, in 2015, or for example, outbound traffic, the growth rate was 11.1%. 20.38 million. Also, the domestic tourism showed phenomenal growth to the tune of 11.6% and accounting to 1432 million domestic tourist visits. Also, the tourism industry led to growth of foreign exchange earnings, showing an annual growth rate of 9.6% and leading to an earning of INR 1,35,193 crores. Also, the country's position in Asia Pacific region is 11th in terms of international tourist arrivals and 7th in terms of international tourism receipts. Though in the world, its position is 40th for tourist arrival and 14th in terms of tourism receipts. But each year, Indian tourism is moving on a progressive path and taking leaps after leaps. India is receiving maximum number of tourists from United States, followed by Bangladesh, United Kingdom, Sri Lanka, Canada, Malaysia, Australia, Germany, France and Japan. All these top 10 nations account for 62.52% of the total foreign tourist arrivals. Now, let's have a look on the local participation in tourism development. We know stakeholders, they play an important role in tourism sector. Local community is a stakeholder whose role is very important in tourism, as he participates in the tourist activity and anything which impact tourism has a direct consequences on him. Also, in tourism his role is vital as his attitude and behavior directly impacts the tourism activity. So, whenever the tourism planner and policy maker are thinking of developing a destination, they always give an important role to the local person. Because the success and failure of tourism activity directly depends upon him. Moreover, if local community is involved, he always plans things which improve his vicinity as well as his socio-economic status without harming his own ecology. The local person always tries to minimize the negative impacts and enhance the positive impacts. In tourism, apart from the main tourism product, the local services and products play a key role in giving valuable experiences to the tourists. The community-based tourism is nowadays considered an integral part of any form of tourism. It not only helps the local community to enhance their livelihood opportunities, but also gives a unique experience to the tourists as well. It helps in doing sustainable type of development, which not only gives value to the guest and host, but also take care of the tourist destination, which acts as a main motivation to the tourist. Local communities are a very important element of the tourism products. As a host at a destination, they have a very crucial role in the development and delivery of tourism products. This module discusses about the important aspects of tourism development that would be essential for tourism practitioners in all sectors, public, private, and voluntarily, as potential leaders, contributors, or funders of the tourism projects. All people of the community are touched by the positive and the negative impacts of tourism. As a core part of both the local culture and the offer of hospitality, community tourism products and services are generally, it consists of small enterprises and which survive alone, but which together create a destination. These small businesses are the core of the community tourism experience. They give several communities the chance to get involved in the tourism industry and allow the benefits of tourism to be distributed throughout the communities. This provides a sole chance to grow and improve the tourism products in a particular area. It is a form of tourism run by and for the local communities. It may be another in character or may provide for larger numbers and have more in common and aspects of mass tourism. It can even be related with organized packages and even coach travel. Whereas businesses benefits from tourism, residents frequently associate it with the negative impacts: congestion, litter, overcrowding, high prices, depletion of natural resources, commodification of locals, overuse of resources, etc. Even everywhere, the industry is recognized as an essential component of the local economy. The tourist may still be disliked. This fragile balance highlights the necessity for communities to play a crucial, important, or active role in tourism development in local area. Dear learners, let's now have a look on sustainable tourism development. The very idea of sustainable development is measured as one of the most basic concepts, which aims at reducing the tension, difference, and environmental degradation that can result from the contact and overlap amongst tourist industry and tourists on one hand, and between the environment and local communities on the other hand. The World Tourism Organization defined sustainable tourism development in 2004 as tourism that fulfills the needs of current tourists and host communities while protecting and enhancing opportunities for the future. It is an insight which leads to management of all resources in such a way that it could fulfill the economic, social, and aesthetic needs of the community. With the protection of cultural integration and life support systems of the local population, or the community. Sustainable tourism is that practice where there is an establishment of a suitable balance between the economic and socio-cultural aspects of tourism development. Sustainable tourism development plays an important and crucial role in conserving preservation of the biodiversity. It focuses on minimizing the negative impacts of tourism development on both the environment and the local culture, keeping in mind that it would be preserved for the coming future generation with the motive of earning income, generating employment, and the conservation and protection of the local culture or ecosystems of a particular area. By applying the concept of sustainable tourism development, the positive contribution of tourism can be applied for the biodiversity conservation, and further it can be used as a tool for poverty alleviation and achieve the common goals for sustainable tourism development. It also provides opportunities for crucial economic incentives for the protection of the habitat. Revenue earned or generated from tourism is spent on channeled back into the environment protection or capacity building programs for the local communities with the aim of managing the protected areas. Moreover, tourism can be used as a major key vehicle in raising awareness and fostering positive behavior change for biodiversity protection and conservation amongst the millions of tourists traveling all over the globe every year. Dear learners, now let's have a look on the goals and objectives of sustainable tourism development. Conservation and protection of the natural environment, natural resources, and the heritage of the local community. Sustainable tourism development aims at protection of the natural environment and the natural resources and the cultural heritage for a longer period of time, so that full utilization of the available resources can be done. Providing the basic requirements of the local community and raising the standards of living. Sustainable tourism development also looks after the requirement of the locals of a particular area and also helps in the increasing the income level of the locals and further helps in raising the standards of the host community. Applying the principle of justice at the level of a present generation as well as the coming generations in order to use the environmental resources and distribute the income. Sustainable tourism development also helps in the distribution of the income amongst the locals and ensures proper utilization of the available natural resources, providing standards of environmental accounting and control over the environmental tourism. Sustainable tourism development also ensures the control over the impacts of tourism on the environment and also keeps a check on the standards of environmental accounting, improvement of the basic environment, and the development of services in the local areas. Sustainable tourism totally focuses on the improvement of the basic natural environment through sustainable tourism practices. Protection of environment is a principal concern for sustainable tourism development. It also ensures development of various services for the host local communities at various destinations all across the globe which are involved in tourism, wherein the local community can invest, which would further provide opportunities for generating income and employment for the local community. Developing the environmental awareness among tourists, workers, and local communities. Sustainable tourism development concentrates on various awareness programs amongst the different tourists traveling across the globe and amongst the workers, stakeholders, local communities involved in the tourism activities across the different parts of the world. Providing new markets for the local products, sustainable tourism focuses on finding and offering new markets for the local products to the final consumers, for example, the tourists. It also encourages the host community in involvement in tourism and offering their local culture to the tourists. Benefits to local through involvement in tourism development. First, sustainable income. Tourism plays a crucial role in providing employment directly to the local residents of a particular place or can find the local activities through distribution of revenue. This revenue can be generated from the excess fee, concessions in the MPA. And also the tourist spending in tourism activities such as food, buying handicrafts, boarding and lodging. However, the community not should be totally dependent on tourism for their income. Over dependence on tourism can corrode or affect the cultural values of the local host communities and can make the community vulnerable to fall in the demand. Local people should not be totally dependent on the unrealistic levels of employment on tourism. Sustainable tourism development will not create a bonanza for the entire host community, but will easily generate some jobs opportunities for a percentage of community. Most of the jobs generated from sustainable tourism would be part-time and on seasonal basis. Improved local services. By participating or practicing sustainable tourism development, there can be improvement in the quality of local services like education and health services. With the general increase in the funding across the local area, more and more sustainable tourism activities and projects can be approved or funded and well planned, such as constructing a health center for the locals or maybe a primary school. Cultural empowerment and cultural exchange. Sustainable tourism practices helps in empowerment of local culture and also create opportunities for culture exchange. Many tourists enjoy meeting locals, hosts, and learning about their lifestyles, eating habits, culture, and customs, traditions, etc. And exchange there with the locals, which is helpful for both the local and the tourist. In a way, they exchange their different traits with each other. Community participation also adds significant value to a sustainable tourism program. Language exchange also takes there. Local community gets awareness of conservation. It is very obvious for the locals to not fully appreciate their surrounding environment and take it for granted what they have. Usually, it is the person coming from a new place who takes a fresh look and start giving importance or adding to our resources. Although the locals are aware about the resources and also understand the difficulties and value these resources play in their lives, many people start realizing about their natural and cultural resources until the arrival of international tourists and how they use these resources. These internationals are very interested and highly enthusiastic about the local areas and communities. As a result, the local communities may start realizing the sense of importance and pride, which tends to change or increase the awareness and local conservation efforts. Many of the locals get motivated by others to protect their areas, both natural and the cultural resources. Threats to locals through involvement in tourism development, environmental impacts. Due to excessive number of tourists at a particular area or a destination, the carrying capacity and overutilization of resources is done, which creates negative impacts on the environment. And resources are not used in a proper way. Employment instability. Due to economic instability at a particular area or destination, there are chances that may make the communities vulnerable to fluctuations, changes in the tourism demand at a destination. The price of the daily use goods or services like grocery, gasoline, restaurants, real estate, etc. may rise for the locals as well due to high movement of tourists at that destination. Crowding. Due to sudden increase in the movement of tourists to a destination area, overcrowding may arise in a town. Beaches, attractions, shopping mall, etc., which may disrupt the imbalance, the peacefulness of that place or affect the natural environment of that place as well as nearby places. These negative impacts may affect the local resident as well as the tourists. Excess development. Due to increase in the development at a particular place, it may be a city, town or a small area. Due to tourism growth, this excessive development may disrupt the local communities in and around that place. Development is taking place in phases. For example, planned development like resort, hotels, restaurants, shopping mall, casinos, and the unplanned development by the local people on the backward or poor areas due to entry of large number of unskilled people seeking jobs in current tourism industry. Problems like sewage system, water and public infrastructures may arise due to unplanned development, which often takes local authorities by surprise. Areas with dense constructions of resorts and hotels become surrounded by shanty towns that arises to poor living quality for the residents and also stress or affect the local environment of a place. For example, cities like Mexico, Delhi, Mumbai, Rio de Janeiro, etc. Outside control. There are maximum chances of outsiders taking control at tourism areas, destinations. This is a real concern for the locals or the host community. Stakeholders from outside have financial resources and years of experience, which gives them a chance to squeeze the business of locals or through push them out of the competition and supporting role in the process of tourism communities may dislike if they feel they have little control over the market. Economic leakage. Revenue earned from the tourism activities may outflow of the tourism area destination. If the tourists buy international goods and utilize internationally owned businesses instead of goods and services produced by the local or host community, leakage to some extent is normal, but it must be controlled to a limit. Luckily, tourists are ready to support the local goods and services if they are given a right chance and opportunity with authentic experience. Cultural change. Due to inflow of tourists from all over the world at a particular area or destination, there are chances of cultural exchange which can be both positive as well as negative. It takes place without the chance for the communities to decide whether they really want the change. Some tourists don't want the indigenous population to change, but some may see a new market to influence. Even there are cases when the indigenous population have mixed desires, such as they want modernization in their culture, wanting to sustain with a traditional culture and customs, or simply want to live a decent life. Dear learners, let's summarize the module. Local or indigenous community has a very crucial and important role in the sustainable tourism development. It is the willingness of the host or local community which plays a significant role in the growth and development of tourism areas or destination. The community has the rights or opportunity to choose or decide whether they want to practice sustainable tourism in their native areas. There are many benefits to the locals by involving them into sustainable tourism activities like sustainable income. By practicing tourism activities, locals can earn a handsome amount of income. It also helps in exchange of cultures between the local communities and the tourists coming from all parts of the world. By involving in the tourism activities, local gets aware about the conservation and preservation of culture and natural heritage. Community involvement also helps in improving the income standards and improve the quality of life. It also helps in improving the basic facilities like health and education. Community involvement also generates employment opportunities for the indigenous people and strengthen the economy, which brings out socio-cultural and economic benefits to the local or host communities throughout the world. Involvement of local communities also comes up with certain negative aspects or flaws like economic leakage, environmental impacts, and depletion of natural resources, overcrowding at places, commodification of locals at times, child labor, prostitution, culture exchange, etc. Proper practices or sustainable practices can be used as a tool for development or growth of a tourist destination by the local communities. Locals or host community can play an important role in development of tourism areas or destinations or the tourism industry as a whole, which can be used as a tool for improving the quality of life of the present and future generations. Thank you.